Hi everyone. I am going to finish Junie B. Jones, Junie B. First Grader at Last, because this means I didn't get a chance to finish it on our Zoom. If you remember when we left off from Zoom, Junie B.'s teacher, Mr. Scary, put several words on the board, and the children needed to pick one word and draw a picture of it. The words were clock, bat, ball, cat, dog, coat, and goat. And when Mr. Scary got to Junie's desk, she tried to hide her journal from him. But when he insisted on looking at it, Junie B had drawn a chicken. And she drew the chicken because she thought the word on the board was not clock, she thought it was cluck. So let's see what happened after that. We're on chapter number 5, and it's called Bug Bag. Junie B is writing in her journal. Tuesday, dear first grade journal. Mr. Scary just called me in from recess. All the other children are still playing out there. He said for me to write in my journal for a minute, and he will be with me soon. I keep peeking at him from behind these pages. He is printing sentences on the board. It's extra work for me, I think. I do not actually approve of this. From Junie B, first grader. Mr. Scary put down his chalk. You can stop peeking at me now, Junie B, he said. I looked at him real surprised, 'cause that guy has eyes in the back of his hair, apparently. He turned around and smiled. Do you see these 3 sentences that I just wrote up here, he asked. Yes, I said, I see them. Excellent, said Mr. Scary. Could you stand up and try reading them from back there, please? Just then my heart got pumpy and pounding inside, 'cause I'm not good at reading from the board, that's why. I kept on sitting there. Please, said Mr. Scary, just give it a try, okay? Finally, I stood up and I squinted at those sentences. There's Junie B trying to read the words from the board, or the sentences from the board, and she's trying with all her might. I read real slow. Bob is a bug bag, I read. I did a teensy frown at that. Really, I asked. Bob is a bug bag? Mr. Scary pointed to sentence number 2. Try this one, he said. I squinted some more. I like my hog spit, I read again. I looked at my teacher, very curious. These sentences are oddballs, aren't they? I said. Mr. Scary pointed at the last one. Just one more to go, he said. This time I stretched my neck and I strained my eyes. Jack is going to, I scrunched my eyes even smaller. To jail, I read. I did a, oh, really? No fooling? Jack who? Mr. Scary came back to my seat. He took my hand and walked me closer to the board. Could you try reading them again from here, Junie B, he said. I made my voice real whiny. But I don't want to read them again, Mr. Scary, I told him. I already know what they say. Just one more time, he said. And so finally I did a big breath and I read the sentences all in a row. Bob is a big boy. I like my dog Spot. Jack is going to Jill's. I covered my mouth, very surprised. Hey, what do you know? He's going to Jill's, Mr. Scary. Whoop! That's a relief, right? Mr. Scary laughed. Right, he said. After that, I headed for the door. Okie dokie. Well, I guess I'll be getting back to recess now, I said. See ya. I waited for him to answer. He did not say see ya. I turned around. See ya? I said a little bit softer. But Mr. Scary just shook his head no. 'Cause too bad for me. He had other plans. Mr. Scary took my hand. We walked out of room 1 and down the hall. You and I are going to visit Mrs. Weller, Junie B., he said. You remember Mrs. Weller from last year, don't you? I shook my head no, 'cause that name did not ring a bell. Mostly I would just like to remember recess, I said. Mr. Scary patted my shoulder. Mrs. Weller is a lovely person, he said. Recess is a lovely person, too, I said. Mrs. Weller is the school nurse, he said. I quick stopped walking. Because the school nurse is where you go when you're sick or tired, and I was totally fine. But I am in good shape, I said. See me? I don't even need a Band-Aid. Mr. Scary smiled. He pulled me along again. Of course you're in good shape, Junie B., he said, but Mrs. Weller does lots of nice things besides giving out Band-Aids. Just then we walked into Mrs. Weller's office, and guess what? I remembered her perfectly well. I just never knew she had a name before. Why, Junie B. Jones, she said, what a nice surprise to see you again. It's a surprise to see you too, I said, 'cause I'm not even sick or tired. Plus, also, I'm supposed to be on the playground right now. Mrs. Weller laughed out loud, only I don't actually know why. After that, she and Mr. Scary whispered real quiet to each other. Then finally, Mr. Scary patted my shoulder. I'm going to leave you with Mrs. Weller for a while, Junie B., he said. The two of you are going to play a game with her eye chart, okay? And there's Junie B., and Mrs. Weller, and Mr. Scary. All of a sudden, my stomach felt kind of jumpy, 'cause playing a game with the nurse did not sound fun. No, I said inside my head, not okay. Mr. Scary waved. See you, he said. I watched him go. I did not say, see you, back. Chapter 6 is called The E-Game. I sat in a chair next to Mrs. Weller's desk. She asked me lots of questions. First, she asked me how I liked my summer vacation. Then she asked me how I liked first grade and how I liked Mr. Scary. That is called stall talk, I believe. Finally, Mrs. Weller stood up. Have you noticed the eye charts I have hanging on my wall, Junie B., she asked. She pointed at them. Eye charts are posters that help us test our eyesight, she explained. I have 2 different kinds, see? One has alphabet letters on it, and the one right next to it is filled with funny E's. That one is called an E chart. I looked at that funny thing. Now, maybe you've seen this in your doctor's office, and this is called an E chart. Whoa, I said, those are the craziest E's I ever saw. They're backwards and forwards and upside down. You're right, said Mrs. Weller. The E's are all mixed up, aren't they? And today you and I are going to play a game with those mixed up E's. It's called the E-Game. After that, Mrs. Weller got a little paper cup, and she showed me how to hold it over one of my eyes. We're going to be testing each of your eyes separately, she said. While one eye is hiding under the cup, the other eye will play the game, okay? I shrugged my shoulders because what choice did I have? Mrs. Weller showed me where to stand to play the game. Then she went back to the E chart. All right, she said. Now each time I point to one of the E's, I want you to tell me the direction it's facing. Are you ready, Junie B? I shrugged again. Then I hid one eye behind the cup, and Mrs. Weller pointed at the first E. So there's Junie B, and she's holding the paper cup over her eye. And with her other eye, she's trying to read the E chart. I pointed my finger up. That one is facing up at the ceiling, I told her. Good, she said. Excellent. I felt a little better inside. Mrs. Weller pointed to the next E. I turned my finger down at the floor. That one is facing down, I said. Mrs. Weller smiled and nodded. I stood up taller, because this wasn't as hard as I thought. After that, the nurse kept on pointing at more E's, and I kept on telling her which way they were facing. Right, left, down, left, up. I stopped and I grinned. Hey, what do you know? I'm a breeze at this game. Right, Mrs. Weller? Right? Mrs. Weller winked at me. We're almost done, she said. Only a few more E's to go. She pointed to a new row. There was a fuzzy smudgy next to her finger. Whoops, I said. What happened there? Did someone spill something on your chart? Mrs. Weller did a little frown. She kept pointing at that smudgy. Can you tell me anything about this mark at all, Junie B? She asked. Yes, I said. It's a smear ball. Mrs. Weller moved her finger over a little bit. What about this mark here? Can you tell me anything about this one? I stared and stared at that thing. That one's a toughie, I said. Finally, Mrs. Weller came over to me. That's fine, she said. You did just fine, Junie B. After that, we played the same game with my other eye. And guess what? I saw 3 more smudgies and a smeary. After I was done, I sat down in the chair again. Mrs. Weller said, I need glasses. I do not like Mrs. Weller. Good guessing. The nurse called Mother at her work. She tattletaled about the glasses. And then Mother tattletaled to Daddy, and those two would not let the matter drop. They talked about glasses all during dinner that entire night. I couldn't even digest my food that good because they kept talking about those stupid, dumb glasses. Sooner or later, almost everyone ends up wearing glasses, Junie B, said Daddy. Really, they do. I put my chin in my hands real glum. Really, they don't, I grumped. Daddy's telling you the truth, Junie B, said Mother. And besides, you're going to look absolutely adorable in glasses. No, I am absolutely not, I grumped. Sure you are, said Daddy. And just think how great it will be to see the words on the board. I covered my ears. Not great, I said. Mother took my hands away. Listen to me, honey, please, she said. Glasses are like magic windows for the eyes. When you put them on, poof, the whole world becomes crystal clear. I did a huffy breath. Poof, yourself, I grumped. After that, Mother picked me up and she carried me to my room, 'cause that was one grump too many. The next morning, Daddy took me to the eye doctor. The eye doctor did lots more eye tests with me. They were sort of fun, only I didn't tell Daddy. Also, the doctor put drops in my eyes, Drops make your eyeballs get biggish and darkish. Eyeballs look very attractive that way. After the eye doctor, I went home till my drops wore off, and then Daddy drove me to school. And guess what? All of the children stared at me when I came into the room. 'Cause I was a late kid, that's why. I walked to my desk kind of shy. Herb's face smiled when he saw me. "Junie B. Jones, where were you?" he said. "I saved your seat on the bus, but you never came." "We were afraid you might be sick," said Jose. "Yeah," said Lenny. "You're not, are you?" "I certainly hope she's not sick," said May. "You shouldn't come to school sick, Junie Jones. Coming to school sick is how germs get started." I sucked in my cheeks at that girl. "I'm not sick, May. I'm just late, and that's all." May made a grouchy face at me. "Well, being late isn't good either," she said. "Being late gets you a black mark on your permanent record." I covered up my ears at her. Blah, 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 blah. Herb and Lenny and Jose laughed out loud. Those guys are starting to enjoy me, I think. Pretty soon I took out my workbook and I tried to do my math. Only too bad for me, because I kept on worrying about my new glasses. What if I look silly in those things, I thought? What if room 1 laughs their heads off at me? What if I look like a Goonie bird and no one wants to be my friend? The worrying would not go out of my head. Maybe I needed to talk to someone about this, possibly. Finally, I reached out and tapped on Herb. "Psst, Herbert," I whispered real soft. "I have something I need to tell you. Only I'm really afraid to say it, 'cause what if you laugh at me? Only you probably won't. But I still don't think I should take the chance, and so please do not ask me more about this, and I mean it." After that, I waited and waited, but Herb did not ask me. I tapped on him again. "Okay, fine, I'll give you a hint," I said, "but first you're going to have to turn around and sneak a peek at me." Herb turned around and sneaked a peek. I quick made round circles with my fingers. After I held them in front of my eyes. "Okay, what am I doing, Herb?" I whispered again. "Huh? What does this look like? I'm making round circles in front of my eyes, see? What do you think they are?" May leaned over to my desk. "Shh," she said. "Stop bothering Herb, Junie Jones. If you don't shush right now, I'm going to tell the teacher." Suddenly, I jumped right up from my chair. 'Cause I had it with that girl. That's why. "No, you shush, you shushy head May. I am not even bothering Herbert. I am giving him a hint about my new glasses. And that is none of your beeswax, sister." May's face looked shocked at me. Look at all the kids' faces. Excuse me, I think they all look shocked. Her mouth came all the way open. "You're getting glasses?" she said real loud. "You're getting glasses?" said Herb. "You're getting glasses?" said all of room 1. The children stared and stared. My head felt hottish and sweatish. I sat back down in my chair. Then I looked at Herb kind of sickish, and I whispered the words, "Good guess." Excuse me. The next chapter is called Showing and Telling. She is writing in her journal once again. Friday. Dear first grade journal, today I brought my new glasses to school. They're hiding in my sweater pocket because I don't want to put them on. That's why. My stomach is in a knot ball. Also, there is tension in my head. We are having show and tell soon. I wish this day was over. From Junie B., first grader. Mr. Scary clapped his hands. "Okay, boys and girls, please put your journals away now. I'll give you more time later if you need it. But right now we have to get started with show and tell. Who would like to go first this morning? May sprang out of her chair. I would, she called out. And then she quick grabbed a brown envelope out of her backpack and she ran to the front of the room. It's my report card from kindergarten. I brought my report card to share with you. May waved it all around in the air. Look, can everyone see this? I got all E pluses. E is for excellent, see? There's an E plus next to every single subject. She held the report card in front of her. Okay, now I will read you each subject one by one, she said. After that, she took a deep breath and she started to read. Number 1, I followed directions. Number 2, I used my time wisely. Number 3, I observed school rules. Number 4, I cleaned up my work area. Number 5, Mr. Scary stood up. Thank you, May, he said. That is very interesting, but I'm afraid that we're going to have to move along now. And May raised her voice. Number 5, I was courteous and respectful. Number 6, I used materials wisely. Number 7, Just then Mr. Scary took May's arm and he led her back to her seat. Lenny raised his hand to go next. He passed around his new styling gel. Remember, Lenny's the one with the very spiky hair. Plus, also, he let us touch his hair. After that, Sheldon showed us how long he could stand on one foot, and Jose sang a song about frogs. And Shirley showed us her turkey sandwich. She showed us the bread and the mayonnaise and the tomato. Finally, Mr. Scary stood up again. All righty, Shirley. Excellent sandwich, he said. But I really think it should go back in its bag now. Shirley sat down. Mr. Scary looked around the room. Okay, who wants to go next, he said. My stomach flipped and flopped. 'Cause a nervous idea popped into my head, that's why. I looked down at my glasses in my sweater pocket, and then I swallowed very hard, and I quick raised my hand in the air. Me, I blurted out, I do. Mr. Scary smiled. Great, Junie B, he said. Did you bring something to share? I quick pulled my hand down again. No, I said, I just changed my mind. My heart was thumping and pumping. I peeked at my glasses one more time, and then all of a sudden my legs stood up and they rushed me to the front of the room. My knees were wobbly and shaking. I bent over and I did deep breaths. Mr. Scary came over to me. Are you okay, Junie B, he asked. Would you like to sit down and wait to do this another day? No, I said. I want to get this over with. Then fast as anything, I reached into my pocket and I pulled out my new glasses. May started to laugh. It was loudish and meanish. Look, it's her glasses, she yelled. She brought her glasses for show and tell, and they're purple. Junie B looks a little upset. Tears came into my eyes. I quick covered my face with my hands. I wanted to sit down real bad, but my legs would not even move. I stood there very frozen. And then, all of a sudden, I heard a noise. It was the sound of running feet, I think. I looked up. My new friend Herb was hurrying to the front of the room, and guess what? He took the glasses right out of my hand and he put them on his own face. Cool, he said. Purple glasses. He looked all around. Wow, he said. My eyes could never see out of these, Junie B. Your eyes must be really special. He looked admiring of me. How do your eyes even do that, huh? Do you have X-ray vision or something, he asked. I shrugged my shoulders, kind of shy. I don't actually know, Herbert, I said. Possibly. Herb gave the glasses back to me. Here, he said, put them on and read something. I rocked back and forth on my feet. Well, okay, Herb, if you insist, I said. And after that, I put on my glasses and I walked all the way to the back of the room. I read the announcement off the board. Friday, September 23rd. Today, get ready for show and tell. I smiled real proud. The end, I said. And then I went back to my desk. Herb hurried over to me. He gave me a high five, and guess what else? Lenny and Jose gave me high fives, too. There's her friends giving her high fives. I think Herbert saved her day by being a really, really good friend. Mr. Scary did a thumbs up. Excellent glasses, Junie B. Jones, he said. Sí, said Jose, excelente. Yes, called Lucille. I like those glasses too, Junie B, 'cause purple is a popular fashion color this fall. My heart felt cheery at that news. I looked at May very smuggy. Well, yay for purple, I said. After show and tell was over, Mr. Scary gave us more time for our journals. I picked up my pencil real happy, and I added 2 more lines. P.S. Hey, what do you know? I think I might like first grade. I looked around the room and I grinned. Everything was crystal clear. And we have finished our Junie B, first grader at last. And I read it to you through my purple glasses, 'cause purple is the color this fall, so Junie B was told. And I have other Junie B books, but unfortunately, we're not going to have time to read them. Had we been in school, you would have really learned a lot about May and Lucille and Grace and Herbert and Lenny and Jose. If you'd like to know more about Junie B and all her friends, you can always order your books from a bookstore or Barnes & Noble or Amazon, or go into the bookstores when they open and buy some for yourself. Or I should say have your moms and dads buy them for you. But there's a whole lot of Junie B. Jones books. Okay, guys. I have 2 more books that I'll be reading later this evening, and they're about first grade also. So I'll see you a little later. Take care, guys.